Now.
Good afternoon, everybody. I'm Dan Hagan. Today on Up North at 4, Northwoods naturalist John Bates joins us live in studio, and it's a perfect time to talk about a type of animal making their way back to the Northwoods. Then Jeff and I will talk to an expert about how water and climate are connected. We'll get to all of that in a bit, but first, here's your top 4 at 4. A winter storm came through the area 2 nights ago. Thousands of Wisconsinites in the Northwoods are still without power. Here's the Wisconsin Public Service outage map. The most outages are in 3 lakes, where more than 2,500 people are affected. Towns with the next most outages are Lincoln, Plum Lake, Washington, St. Germain, and Lac du Flambeau. More than 80,000 customers have been restored so far. WPS expects to restore service to 90% of customers affected by this storm by the end of Thursday. City officials met in Weston this morning to discuss new findings from PFAS testing. The studies found that wells 3 and 4 exceeded the recommended hazard levels of PFAS. As a result, on March 17th, those 2 wells in question were taken offline. Studies have shown that PFAS in the environment may be linked to harmful health effects in humans and animals. These effects can include increased cholesterol levels, decreased response to certain vaccines, and reduced fertility in women, among other health problems. As we get into spring, it's important to think about our local pollinators, and now Lincoln County residents have an easy way to help them out. A pollinator, by the way, is an animal that moves pollen between different plants to help fertilize them. Last fall, seeds were harvested at the Lincoln County Service Center's pollinator habitat. Those seeds have been placed into small bags and are available for the community at no cost. Each bag contains enough seeds for a 64 square foot area of native plants that will help support local pollinators. Seeds are available while supplies last at the Tomahawk Public Library, the T.B. Scott Library, the Service Center, and the Merrill Enrichment Center. It could have been a pretty stinky call for police in Pennsylvania. A skunk was in need of rescue. A resident spotted the animal, its head stuck in some type of container, and it was just kind of walking in circles. Well, neighbors say they are glad this whole thing was handled so humanely and nobody got sprayed by the skunk, which is a win for everyone. If residents had one complaint, it's that the skunk is still hanging around the neighborhood. Well, Chief Meteorologist Jeff Weller joins us now. Jeff, happy Thursday.
Hey, Dan, happy Thursday. We're trying to melt some ice out of the trees today. It's taking some time because there's just lots of it across our region, with temperatures hanging out in the mid-30s right now. Today and tomorrow is our chance to do it. Otherwise, the weekend, Saturday and Sunday, high temperatures only in the 20s. Outside right now, though, it's 37 in parts of the Tomahawk area, 40s, though, across parts of central Wisconsin. But look over that way. There is colder temperatures headed our way. In fact, we are the cool kids right now across the Great Lakes in the Midwest. There is much colder air, though, right up there. That's going to be in our direction beginning late tomorrow night. And then for the weekend, we're talking high temperatures, mid-20s. In fact, look at this trend. Are you ready? 38-ish tomorrow, then 28 on Saturday. 24 for a high temperature on Sunday. That's just about the average low temperature this time of the year. All right, so snowfall-wise, so right now we're at 78 inches of snow so far this snow season. I say that because 91.3 inches puts us in the top 5 snowiest seasons on record in Rhinelander. So, you know, we're about, what, 13 inches away, and there's a little bit more snow in the forecast tomorrow. Not a lot, just a little. Clear skies here, cloudy skies there. These are going that way. We'll get some clear skies tonight before this little guy gets in here tomorrow. That could give us an inch of snow tomorrow afternoon. Our forecast then tonight, though, is mostly cloudy skies to partly cloudy skies and not as cold, with low temperatures down near 20. Your full forecast at 5 o'clock.
Birds still sing when the morning comes.
Enter a haven for European-style baking at Boulangerie in Tomahawk. Fresh breads, pastries, soups, salads, and more. The finest ingredients prepared from scratch with a fanatical eye for detail. Simply the best. You deserve Boulangerie.
It's Ford Truck Month, America. With new inventory arriving daily, it's time to get after it in a Ford F-150 and a Ford Ranger. Stop by your local Ford dealer today and let us help you custom order your truck your way. Then we'll get after building it. It's Ford Truck Month. Visit your local Ford dealer today. Order your F-150 to lock in 0% financing for 66 months and $500 cash, plus an extra $1,000 retailer order bonus.
He's turned on working families again. Ron Johnson said no to bringing new jobs to Wisconsin. Now he's supporting the Republican plan that phases out Social Security and Medicare and increases taxes on middle-class families.
Time for Democrat Alex Lasry. Lasry says let's get more money into working people's pockets and cut their taxes. No wonder so many unions say Alex Lasry is the strongest Democrat to beat Ron Johnson.
I'm Alex Lasry, and I approve this message.
Enjoy the serenity of northern Wisconsin all year long. First stop, Shquagaman Adventure Company. Skis, skates, snowshoes, and fat bikes. Kayaks, canoes, and paddleboards. Shquagaman Adventure Company. Stop by the store or visit us online.
I wish I could find somewhere to eat that serves lunch so I can relax and have someone clean up after me. I miss lunch at the Rhinelander Cafe and Pub. The Rhinelander Cafe and Pub is opening for lunch? The Rhinelander Cafe and Pub is opening for lunch. The Rhinelander Cafe and Pub will be opening for lunch starting February 22nd. Exciting new choices, but some of the favorites too.
We're back on Up North at 4 with Northwoods naturalist John Bates, our favorite guest. Would that be me?
One of our favorite guests.
Yes.
Careful. Yeah.
John, how are you doing today?
Doing great. You guys?
Welcome back.
Yeah, we're doing well. So we're going to talk about birds today. Are they coming back into the area right now?
They sure are. So at our house in Greater Manitouish, 60 miles north or so of here, we've already had red-winged blackbirds return 3 days ago. Robins returned 2 days ago. Grackles returned 2 days ago. And today we had juncos, dark-eyed juncos. So we've had 4 species of songbirds return just in the last 4 days.
And these are all returning from Mexico, maybe Florida. Where is the most places are coming from?
So the ones that are coming right now are just really not far south of us at all. May only be in southern Wisconsin or Illinois, Indiana.
Okay.
So we always get those birds first to return.
Yep.
Those neotropical migrants you're referring to from way down in South America, they won't be back until mid-May.
Gotcha.
So I want to pull up some Doppler radar images on the screen,
Speaking
John.
my language.
Tell me what we're looking at. You know, usually I toss to Jeff for radar, but I'm actually tossing to John. What are we looking at here?
You're looking at songbirds leaving about a half hour to 45 minutes after nightfall, all rising up simultaneously, tens of thousands of birds in these kind of little tiny explosions, it looks like, and being seen quite easily.
Yeah, I mean,
on
Doppler radars are so sensitive. They in real time measure wind in the atmosphere, picking up dust particles. So they can see these little insects and birds flying around, and you can actually track them via radar from site to site up into the Midwest and Great Lakes.
Yeah, so that way you know the next morning, if you're watching your radar, you know the next morning that you may have a fallout, what's called a fallout of birds that have migrated, and they come down in the morning, they have to eat and feed, so you may have a whole lot of birds around you. That's a good indicator. Watch the radar to know to go birding the following morning.
Well, let's talk about some birds that are coming up. Our first bird is a goldeneye. Can you tell us about a goldeneye?
Sure. A goldeneye is a diving duck, a small duck called a whistler because when it flies, it whistles with its wings whistle. It nests just a few nesters here in northern Wisconsin, mostly up in Canada. So they're one of the very first birds to return.
So I thought of you with the ice storm on Tuesday because the ice on top of the snow, a pretty thick piece of ice to get through for food beneath it. With these birds returning, are they going to have trouble finding food to eat?
Yeah, they are. So a lot of birds are eating either insects in crevices of trees, or they're eating buds, or what's left of some fruits, so they're encased in ice and they can't get to them. It's pretty serious. So I've had a number of calls from people in the last few days saying birds at their feeders are going ballistic because that's where the restaurant is.
Will the birds go back if they get up here and say that, if they can't find food, will they go back for a week or two?
Yeah.
Geese will.
Okay.
Interestingly enough, and so people often will see geese coming and going and say what's going on, but when the songbirds get here, they're usually here, and if they may starve if the food resource isn't available.
And I know rivers opening up are important. Can you talk about that, what that means?
Sure. So right now the Wisconsin River is open right around Rhinelander here. The Manitowish River, where I live, though, is still frozen. So the birds do this kind of hop, step, and jump, this gradual migration. The waterfowl that are reasonably close by will come up as the water, as the ice clears and water becomes open. So we'll have waterfowl continue to appear as the ice opens.
And lots of folks are watching this who like to take care of birds. Is there a good food source to put out for them right now that, you know, for the birds that are arriving in the area currently?
Sure. So I'm cheap, so I simply do sunflower seeds.
Okay.
You can do thistle seed if you like, although it's not really thistle. You're not going to grow thistle if you use it, but that's quite expensive. It's $50 for a 30-gallon or a 30-pound bag. So anyway, sunflowers are sufficient. That's all you really need to do.
Let's go through a couple more birds here. Next on our list are mallards. Can you tell us about mallards?
Well, again, like goldeneye, they're wintering just a little ways south of us, wherever there's open water. So as soon as things open up, they're back. They're really hardy birds.
And scaup. Did I say that correctly?
Scaup.
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 Let's take a look at scaup.
Scaup. So there's a greater and a lesser scaup. You've got a lesser there, and only birders can really tell the difference. Pretty nuanced.
Birders? That's a thing, a birder?
Birder, yeah. If you love birds, you're a birder.
For real?
Yeah.
I didn't know that.
It's like you follow weather. You're a weatherer. Next one. Well, did you want to say anything about scaup? Should we just...
They're just coming through.
They're just greater scout.
Well, trumpeter swans are very identifiable. I feel like I've seen a couple recently. Tell me about those.
So some winter over here. So we have them on the Manitowish River all winter long, for instance. But quite a number also migrate out. They come back really, really early. They're a fantastic success story in Wisconsin. They're extirpated for over a century, from the late 1800s to about 1988, 1990, when the DNR got eggs. Flew up to Alaska, took eggs off nests there, brought them down to the Milwaukee Zoo, incubated them there, and brought those chicks and released them up here in Wisconsin in the early 1990s. And now we have over 5,000 trumpeter swans in Wisconsin, a fabulous success story from the DNR.
I had no idea. So we didn't have them for a century plus.
Yeah, and they were extirpated. They were killed for feather bonnets for women back in the late 1800s, along with herons and egrets and a whole bunch of other birds.
Okay, well, let's take a break right now, John. We'll come back. We're going to talk more about birds, and we're going to hear an owl call. We'll see you in a few minutes.
When you need a paint to fit your lifestyle, Menards has got you covered. From protecting against this, or covering this, to refinishing this, we have a paint for you. You also need it in this color, or even this color. We can do that. Stop in and talk to one of our paint professionals to make your colors come to life. Pick up a gallon of DuraClean interior flat paint for only $14.98 after sale price and mail-in rebates.
Pastime Club in Minocqua, an adult day program offering respite for caregivers while loved ones participate in structured activities, serving individuals 50 and older with mild to moderate memory loss. Pastime Club's caring staff helps promote socialization, well-being, and enhanced memory functions.
It's 5 a.m. and I feel like I can do anything.
We've got apples and cabbage, 7,000 dahlias, vegetables, and
brisket for dinner.
We've been coming here since 1868.
there's a lot of cushy desk jobs out there, but
This is my happy place.
There are millions of ways to make the most of your land. How will you make the most of yours?
Stop by Lakeland Lawn and Equipment in Arborvita for special offers taking place for a limited time. Get great deals and service on legendary John Deere equipment.
Everything seems to be more expensive these days. Everything costs more. Ron Johnson should be helping families like us, but he seems to have helped himself instead. An investigation found that Ron Johnson pushed through a special tax loophole that benefited his own family's business. Then he cashed out of the company for $5 million. He's doubled his wealth since taking office. It doesn't seem fair to me. Tell Ron Johnson to stop passing tax laws that benefit himself.
Visit Wild Berry Market, the premier natural food store in the Northwoods, for all of your organic food and health needs. Grab a healthy lunch on the go, made fresh daily by our deli. Eat well, live well, be well. Wild Berry Market in Minocqua and online.
Still here with John Bates. John, let's take a listen to a saw wet owl. Let's play that right now and kind of describe what we're hearing.
So this is the male calling. It's an advertisement call. He's advertising that he's available for business, as it were. And it's a monotonous, continuous tooting. And you're hearing that. It sounds like a dump truck backing up.
Yeah.
First time my wife and I ever heard it, when we were first moved to Manitowish in 1984, we didn't know what it was. We were laying in bed 11 o'clock at night and we hear that doot, 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 2 times a second, doot, 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 and it went on for 15 consecutive minutes. And we were like, who's backing up for 15 minutes?
So it was that close to a sound of a dump truck backing up.
Oh, yeah, it really is. So those are saw-whet owls. So it's a unique sound. I'm really glad you played it because I think people hear that at night and have absolutely no clue what it is. But they're little tiny owls, 8 inches tall, rarely seen. They're common, but rarely seen because they're so hard to see. They hide in the foliage of balsam trees.
You'll have better luck listening to them than actually seeing them. Okay.
At night.
Let's bring up one more bird here, the red-winged blackbird. Why are these birds special, John?
Well, they return early, and the picture's perfect because it shows the epaulets, the shoulder, red shoulders of the red-winged blackbirds, and they use those bright shoulder patches to determine dominance on their territory. Kind of like military insignia on a shoulder shows rank. So whoever has the brightest and biggest red epaulet on their shoulder wins the territory. And for red-winged blackbirds, they can have up to 15 or so females in their territory, so it's worth winning the territory. Interesting studies called the covered badge hypothesis. This is a badge where they've covered up with duct tape or with ink or something that epaulet on the side, and immediately that male loses his territory.
Who do we see next? What's next? Hummingbirds?
Oh, hummers are a ways off. Hummers are Mother's Day, almost invariably May 10th, right around that ballpark. We're going to start seeing sparrows. We'll be seeing a lot more waterfowl coming up because the lakes are open, but the songbirds are relatively slow because of this weather thing that we have go on here where spring never comes.
I think you'll have to come back on Up North at 4 next month. We can talk more about birds. We're out of time today, but thank you so much for making the trip down here, John.
Always. Thank you, guys.
All right, we'll take a quick break. Right after the break, we're going to talk to a person from the Walton Family Foundation about how climate is connected to water. We'll see you in a few minutes.
Cost Cutters doesn't cut corners, only fresh new looks. Save big this month at Cost Cutters. Buy one, get one half off sale on all styling and finishing products.
Play your way. Dine your way. Stay your way. Ho-Chunk Gaming Wittenberg. Win your way.
It's Chevy Truck Month, and it's time to add the perfect accessories to your new Chevy. Make it bolder. Make it work harder. Make it your own. Find new possibilities. Find new roads. Very well qualified buyers can get 0% financing on most Chevy pickup trucks. Plus, now during Truck Month, get a $1,000 accessory allowance toward the eligible purchase of a new Chevy truck with accessories. Find new roads at your local Chevy dealer.
Love your career. Cost Cutters will support you in achieving your career goals. With competitive wages, great benefits, and up to a $2,250 sign-on bonus. Stop in or visit costcutters.com to find your nearest location.
Welcome back to Up North at 4. Jeff, it's springtime, which means a lot of good things are coming to the Northwoods of Wisconsin. But unfortunately, spring also brings flooding, and unfortunately, more and more flooding as climate change progresses.
Right.
But here to talk to us today is Carol Stern from the Walton Foundation. Carol, first off, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. How about you?
I am doing well.
Very well.
Let's talk about how water and climate change are connected.
You know, climate change really is water. It's water change. And if you look across our country this past year, it's pretty evident. Wildfires, extreme high temperatures, floods. We've seen it all this year.
Yeah, Carol, there is a world where water, nature, people, and thriving economies work together. There is a need, though, to keep that water clean. Where does that action start?
That action starts on a lot of levels in a lot of different places. It starts with each of us when we turn the faucet on in the morning, if we're cognizant for how long it's running and how we use and how we waste water. It starts with our children, what we teach them about the process. It gets bigger when we go to a community level or a corporate level, when we think about how we support our natural infrastructures. How do we rebuild our wetlands? How do we restore our riverbanks? Who are we voting for, and how are they supporting the issues of our planet? How are we demanding that legislators enact, sustainable fishing rules? And then it gets to more of like the foundation level, things that we're engaged with. We're working with farmers who are truly our partners on this issue to grow what they grow with less water, to have cover crops in between the regular crop rotations so that they can keep the soil healthy, because when it's unhealthy, then there's runoff, and that runoff is toxic to our rivers. We're doing some really interesting work along the Colorado River Basin, for example. We're working on the front lines with community leaders, making sure the tribal leaders and the local community leaders are engaged in this process. And we've got this amazing project going with NASA, Google, and a bunch of the environmental leaders, really using satellite technology to monitor in real time water usage from the Colorado so that farmers don't waste a drop. They really use what they need and no more along that river. So I think there's some really innovative ways we can change this and turn it around, but it takes each of us doing our part to make that happen.
Right.
For me personally, I think it's hard to discuss climate change at length because it's such an overwhelming problem and an existential threat. But let's talk about why you're hopeful about how we can address climate change.
I am hopeful, and I'm hopeful because, take our research. We did this research with Morning Consult. We did it the first time a couple years ago during the storm season. So we really weren't surprised that people were reacting to climate change and saying it was important because they were experiencing it. We didn't do it during storm season this time. And we saw that the majority of Americans see climate change as the most important issue. And we saw that 74%, representing this wide spectrum across the aisles, wants us to unify around water, sees it as the issue we can come together around and find common solutions. That gives me great hope. It also gives me great hope that our research around the next generation shows us that they are a generation ready to take action and willing to take action. So they are going to do the work to help to restore our planet. And then lastly, what gives me optimism is time. Time is on our side on this issue. If we act, we can solve this problem. It is not too late.
Yeah, and Carol, every month I do, as the meteorologist, I post the previous month's, temperatures, right? And, January was the 4th warmest January on record. February is the 7th warmest February on record. Every year we seem to be getting warmer and warmer and warmer. And that's kind of the drive home to people at home, like, hey, the climate is changing. We don't have to put blame on somebody for that, but the climate is changing, right? So you say 74% of Americans believe in climate change. How do we get that 26% to also buy into the fact that this is a changing world?
I wish I had that answer. I think that for many of us, some people, I think about it when an analogy is almost like with cancer. Everybody knows cancer exists. Many of us are lucky enough to not have to think about it. For some, they will never think about it till it hits a family member. For others, they won't think about it till it hits themselves. So I think about climate change almost in the same way. For those who are experiencing the extreme effects of climate change right now, I don't have to come on TV and sell them on the idea. For those of us who it hasn't hit yet, I hope that you're watching and seeing it because it is impacting. I saw what happens in my previous job at UNICEF when people don't have access to water. And it is devastating because water is life. 70% of our 70% of our water is spent on food production in this nation. So it's not only the water we drink, but it's the food that we eat. If we do not protect our rivers and our oceans, we will not have life. That's the bottom line.
Carol Stern with the Walton Foundation. Carol, thanks so much for joining us on Up North at 4.
Thank you so much. WaltonFamilyFoundation.org/World Water Day.
Thank you so much.
Thanks again.
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. We'll be right back in Up North at 4.
This portion of News Watch 12 is brought to you by Furniture and Appliance Mart.
Cedar Creek Grillhouse, the area's newest restaurant, is now open. You bring the appetite, we'll bring the heat. Enjoy mouth-watering entrees for breakfast and dinner, prepared on a fire grill or wood-burning oven. Cedar Creek Grillhouse at the Holiday Inn and Suites, Rothschild.
Who doesn't love popcorn? Enter the Birthday Club contest on WJFW.com for your chance to win a half-gallon bucket of popcorn from Minocqua Popcorn and Pubs. Watch Newswatch 12 today, Monday through Friday, to see the lucky winner of the day.
Olson Solar Energy would like to thank everyone who has trusted us with their local solar installations. And to those of you still considering solar, give us a call to set up a free evaluation and get your project booked in 2022. Discover the benefits of a lower or no energy bill and take advantage of federal tax credits. The time is now. Go green, save green with Olson Solar Energy.
Northland Basement Systems is the all things basementy company. Basement waterproofing, basement finishing, basement structural repair, humidity and mold control, and nasty crawl spaces too. When it comes to basement solutions, nobody does it better than we do. Since 1991, homeowners just like you in the Northland have trusted Northland Basement Systems for all things basementy in their homes. Call Northland Basement Systems today to schedule a free home evaluation.
Dateline Friday. After a night of drinking, a fatal gunshot.
The only logical explanation was murder.
But the story that once ended here has a whole new chapter.
It's disbelief, then it's shock, then anger.
Dateline Friday, 9/8 Central.
American Song Contest is off to an explosive start. And Monday,
who y'all rooting for?
No second chances, it's all live.
That is a hit record.
American Song Contest, live Monday on NBC.
It's Ford Truck Month, America. With new inventory arriving daily, it's time to get after it in a Ford F-150 and a Ford Ranger. Stop by your local Ford dealer today and let us help you custom order your truck your way. Then we'll get after building it. It's Ford Truck Month. Visit your local Ford dealer today. Order your F-150 to lock in 0% financing for 66 months and $500 cash, plus an extra $1,000 retailer order bonus.
So, Jeff, you mentioned that we are about 13 inches away from cracking the top 5 for snowfall.
Yeah.
Do you think we'll get there?
No, it's going to be a stretch. I mean, an inch of snow tomorrow, and then we're heading into April. And, you know, we typically get something in April, but there's nothing on the horizon big time right now. So
I think that's okay. We're done with
It's okay.
snow,
I think most people could do without the snow right now.
Okay, we'll have more from Jeff at 5 and 6. We'll see you then.